Well, welcome again to another episode of Business Ahas. And I think, as I normally say, we have an amazing guest today. And I got the opportunity to meet Wyatt, kind of in a little bit unusual circumstances. We were working with an organization, and we had the opportunity to go visit another location where they had this audio-visual experience, where Wyatt was working at the time, or still is working today, but where he was working at the time. And I had the most incredible audio-visual experience I've ever had in my entire life. It was absolutely moving to me. We were standing in a room at one particular point, and there was this dinosaur or whatever it was. It was coming across the room, but obviously wasn't really a dinosaur. But literally on the other side of the room, on the little table, was a candle on the table, and you could see the candle shake as the dinosaur was walking across the room. And then I would move, and below me, I would feel water flowing underneath my feet. True story. So, killer experience. So became friends with Wyatt over the course of time and spent some time together to get to know each other better. I invited him to come in. He's an audiovisual expert as well. But his passion, I think we're going to talk a little bit more today. And I'm excited about having Wyatt with us today. So Wyatt, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Good having you, man.
Yeah.
So just kind of hopping right in. What led you to this passion of music?
Well, I would say on that one, it sort of led itself to me. I kind of grew up with that inside, and I grew up really loving different types of music, and my parents thankfully had good music taste. They introduced me to the Eagles and a few other. In Excess was my mom's favorite band, so I had good music around me from a young age.
The Eagles and then In Excess.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with Rift, the album Rift?
Yes.
You are, and you know Fish.
Fish, I do, although I'm not particularly a Fish fan, I'll be honest with you.
Well, you have to be a fan. It's like Fleetwood Mac or Def Leppard, or right? I mean, totally different genres.
Yeah, I think, thankfully I was exposed to a bunch of different genres because my mom was, she was actually clubbing in the 80s and 90s in San Francisco. So she was listening to a lot of dance music, but always had a love for acoustic. Now they're called oldies, I guess, but some of the old tracks. And so
I resemble that remark.
Okay. Yeah. So, but as I grew up, it was sort of built in. And I started playing guitar probably around the age of like 12, 13.
What kind of guitar?
Initially, I was really into the electric guitar because that was the cool thing to do, and my parents really wanted me to play piano. And a lot of that. And as a young guy does, I did not want to play the piano, so I should have, looking back on it. But basically, got super into the guitar, and from there came up with a bunch of inspiration to start writing songs. I used to kind of take poems that I had, turn them into songs and things like that. And when I got to high school, I had a different experience because I discovered electronic music and went to my first music festival. I think I was 14 years old. Probably no business being at that particular festival.
Was it called EDM then, or just electronic music?
EDM was sort of a branch term that was becoming more popular, but you couldn't find that genre anywhere. I mean, it was called electronic or dance, depending on how the style was. Yeah. But at the time, a producer called Skrillex, who's very well known now, was just coming onto the scene, and he was sort of creating these incredible weird sound design things. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, I listened to it and I wanted to recreate it. And so I bought myself a little selection of items like some turntables and some little keyboards, and downloaded some software, probably not legally at the time, onto my computer, and started to mess around making different beats and rhythms and sounds. And that was kind of the initial start, and I've been sort of tinkering with that ever since.
And it's a true passion.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm curious now, just slightly change the subject.
Mm-hmm.
When did you realize, at what age, like, this is actually my calling?
I can remember going to, it wasn't maybe one moment, but a few, where I went to a number of concerts. I was maybe 19, if I had to guess. And I was out on the lawn of this large amphitheater. And at those concerts, I kept having this weird feeling like being in the audience was sort of the wrong place for me. And it was kind of...
Do you remember the concert?
Uh, it was probably Darius Rucker, if I had to, which is totally
You turned country then.
yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm totally well, like I mentioned, exposed to a lot of genres. I'm into a lot of genres.
Because he
and
was not country, then switched to country.
correct. Hootie
Yes.
from the Blowfish. Yeah.
Hootie and the Blowfish. I actually got gas next to him one day.
Really?
I'm literally filling up my car. I look over and I said, Hootie? He goes, yep. I'm like, cool, dude.
Yeah.
You never know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I went to every type of concert. I was at heavy metal shows, I was at jazz shows, I was at country shows, I was at raves, I was doing the whole deal. I loved it all. But
that one moment when you were 19, you were in the audience and you said to yourself, I'm in the wrong spot.
it's almost like I didn't say it to myself. It was like it was said to me,
Fair,
kind of
yeah.
a thing. And so, yeah, I sort of dove down the path. I mean, I had already done a lot of work with music and writing and producing and a bunch of different stuff, and I was into it. And I was actually at the time, because I was, I think, either just going into college or around that time. So my high school job, I was a DJ for like the proms and weddings and things around.
Make some extra money.
Yeah, it was extra money. It was kind of a happenstance thing because I had the gear for it after trying to, recreate Skrillex, and I was like, I think I could just, make some money doing that. So that's how I sort of learned to do the DJ side of everything, and it was around that time that I was seeing myself in a different light, and rather than having DJing be one thing for money and then my love for music kind of being separate, I sort of merged everything, and then I started changing what I was doing from being, the DJ that sits around and takes requests to being a performer and producer, in my own right. So that's kind of where that changed.
Did you use much of those old poems you wrote from that inspire you for what you created and what you're doing these days?
I think, I mean, because I make a bunch of different music, there's kind of my outside, what people see, the branded version of me. And I would say no for that because that's mostly club music and it doesn't get that deep, to be honest with you. But that said, more of my kind of passion side projects and things that I work on, it's kind of subject matter that has always resonated with me. And I have gone back a few times and
which
read
is
things.
Deep.
Yeah.
Much deeper, sure.
Yeah. And I think...
And probably a selected audience.
Yeah, well, definitely at that age, I think, I was going through a lot in terms of how I was changing and growing up, and I think I was more in tune with a couple of different feelings that I don't have as much now as an adult, and so revisiting those,
or different feelings,
exactly, and revisiting those, in the kind of purest sense is generally pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah. A minute ago, you talked about college. What did you end up pursuing in college?
I went to film school, actually, and
why?
Well, it was sort of all came together because through just diving into this more creative world and how it all fit, and I was really into music videos and I was really into this whole fun thing, I started also kind of making some movies and short films and things with friends. And
oh, really?
Yeah. And
in California?
This was in California,
yeah,
yes. Yeah. And so essentially that just led to, and I've always been a fan of movies as well as music, and so that led to me going into film school, and I actually pursued a music technology minor at the same time. So I was on the production side of film, so a lot of budgets and location management and sort of behind the scenes type stuff.
Very different world.
Very different world. In fact, a world that now I've kind of exited and leaned out of. And if you would like, we can talk about that as well. But yeah, through that though, I got introduced to a number of other musicians because both in and out of school, I was working on music videos because that was always kind of the connective tissue for me was, and I always enjoyed short form content rather than these kind of long drawn out shoots and things. So.
Just really quick, you mentioned a minute ago about the exiting the film industry. If I may take a liberty, I would call you a very genuine soul. I've known you enough time that I could think I believe in my own heart that you are a very genuine soul, and that then the industry that you exited from is not a genuine industry.
Well, you sort of pointed to exactly why I left. Yeah. I had a hard time in that world, with LA, Hollywood.
Yeah.
There was a cultural difference between me and the people who are really into it. And I do have some very good friends that are still there, and they make their own way through it. But for me,
and they're survivors, I guess.
they are. For me, it didn't really make sense. I felt very out of place. I felt like it was hard for me to connect with people. Everybody always kind of wanted something. It was always a leg up or something. There was never really that just, hey, how are you? Just for the sake of it.
I want to meet you. I want to be your friend.
Yeah. And that partnered with a number of other things that I didn't really vibe with. I mean, at the end of the day, music was always the thing that was driving me more so than film. And one of the things that I tell people is that when I was doing film school and I was leaning into that, watching movies became harder. And it was because I was almost
Being critical.
being critical. I was sort of behind the scenes with it. I learned a lot about screenwriting in the production process because a lot of it was taking a look at a script and trying to figure out if it could be marketable, how to turn it into a film, how to tell the story, the 3-act structure. And so
What does that mean, the 3-act structure? Oh, yeah, I think I know that, but tell me again.
it's essentially, the intro and then the body of the film and then the finale of the film. And in the body, there's kind of another way of splitting the two parts where you have the climax hit and everything sort of falls. And it's a way of splitting up your film so that you can tell the story. It's sort of just a layout. But the reason I bring it up is basically a lot of times, unless it was a very good movie, the first 5 to 10 minutes of a film, I would see exactly how it was going to end because I was knowing basically how the formula works.
They were predictable.
Very.
Now, just by chance, do you use the same theory at all with music?
A little bit.
Where there's the beginning, you have that crescendo, climax.
I definitely like to tell a story, for sure. Yeah,
I guess it depends on the music.
Yes. Yeah, it does. It definitely does. But I do like to tell a story. I like to feel like we've gotten to a part and then there's sort of the ending. I like that part. But yeah, to finish that point is watching movies became more difficult. And the more I learned about how to make them and the more I was involved in making them, the less I enjoyed actually watching and sitting down and just taking in a movie. And with music, the more that I learned about how to make it and compose it and produce it and how it all comes together, the more I enjoy listening to it. So I kind of realized that was my click of, this film thing is not per se for me.
When was that?
I think I was 22, 23. Yeah. Not that long ago.
Yeah. So then, one more question for you.
Mhm.
When did you realize that not just my calling? So if you think, let's kind of back up the train. So mom was a huge influence,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Mom loved Fleetwood Mac
She did.
and Excess.
Mhm.
And you got this feel of what music would do, how it made you feel,
Mhm.
and how it makes other people feel. And now then you move forward slightly and you're in high school and you're doing DJing, doing weddings, and you're watching people be very happy. Usually in those scenarios, no one's there because it's a sad day, typically.
Generally.
Yeah, generally.
Yeah.
You hope.
Yeah.
And your job a little bit is to make it maybe a little better, make them feel a little better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, definitely as I started going deeper into becoming a performer, I spent a lot of my time figuring out how to address the energy of the room. Being a DJ, a true DJ, obviously was sort of catering to your audience. And then when you take that and you turn it into a performance, there's different ways that people do it. For me, I always stuck with the sort of original, the kind of traditional way of DJing, which is I don't plan a set really. I sort of have my library of music and things that I would like. And so you're catering to
and you let it free flow based upon the energy of the room, energy of the people.
Yeah. And the trick is to maintain my style and play what I want to play, but have it focused on this sort of back and forth. And in the best way, when you have that connection, you nail it and you can just sort of stay in that pocket and you're just constantly.
And you can feel it.
Yes, absolutely.
As soon as you get into that pocket, you can feel it.
Absolutely. And and I think kind of to your point of trying to make somebody's day better and that sort of a thing, that was the part that drove me honestly as a performer. Was like I started to see just visually and I felt viscerally the energy change in a lot of people, and it became this cool thing where most of my audience was there on a Friday night, and they've been working their ass off all week, and this was their outlet, was just to go and dance and have some fun.
And you actually physically see their hair come down.
Yes. Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Sometimes both. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, sure.
Yeah.
Fascinating. That's really fascinating that you have that level of impact, and then realizing you actually see the level of impact when you deliver that type of music and that type of an experience toward the people that are listening to you.
Yeah, it's very different than, I've been in bands and done that sort of a thing too. And there's a lot of that elevated energy. And one thing that I think is never going to change is that feeling where everybody knows the words and they're all coming together and singing together, and they're here to see that band or that performance.
Well, that would be every wedding you were at.
Sure.
Come on, YMCA.
But
no.
But yeah, I think that is that has its place, and I love that. Punk rock shows are some of my favorite to go to, for example. But in my world, as the dance DJ world and the club scene and things that I was getting into and music festivals, that's where having that energy feedback and that loop changed the way that I looked at it, because it just made it way more exciting to understand I'm here to sort of serve them, and it's at the same time fulfilling, me and my love for the music. So, yeah.
So now the big question is, what point in your existence thus far would you consider, from being a child to where you are today, the biggest, most significant aha moment of your life?
So,
and you've been thinking about this, I'm sure.
I have. Well, one of the things that I wanted to explore with you in the conversation was I had a realization in the last few years that seeing something that or taking in something as part of my personality that I've always felt was sort of natural or a little easy for me, I never took the time to see that as valuable to somebody else and see it as a skill. And
kind of like that imposter syndrome, you mean?
In a way, yeah. I mean, it's just when something comes to me relatively easily, I've always sort of felt like, well, other people have that too, and I realize they don't.
They don't know. No.
Yeah, and sort of tangentially related, but in the same vein of thought, was this idea that certain times people have a weakness about them, or they feel like there's a weakness about them, and I think there's a way you can generally reframe that, and instead of trying to just take a problem and solve it, you can just sort of look at it differently and try to gain something from it and find a strength. And I so in sort of prefacing my quick story with those thoughts, you'll kind of see how they relate. And so there was a night in San Francisco that I was out with a number of friends. Most of them were also DJs. And we were exploring different clubs. We were going around. And after everything ended, this was already 2 a.m. or something like that, I was about to go home. At the time, what I was doing actually was commuting from my parents' house, which was about an hour south of the city, up to the city to play gigs, see people, network, do my thing, and then go back down. And that particular night, I was ready to go home, and somebody sort of grabbed me and they said, well, we got invited to this other kind of after party thing. I think we should go. And I was like, I'm still awake. Might as well. So we end up going to...
You're not 50.
Right.
Or 60.
Thankfully. I don't even know if I could...
Easy now.
I don't even know if I could do it now. But what's funny, this was, I don't know, a few years back. But we end up going to what I could only describe as like a scene from a Playboy movie or something. It was like I walk into this crazy, weird 4-story mansion in the Presidio, and there's a pool inside, and in there is this whole party that's going on, and it felt like there was models laying out, and it was kind of this crazy, weird scene. And there was a DJ that was playing, and they had a whole system in there, a whole setup, and there was visuals all over the walls, and it was this kind of otherworldly experience. At this point, it's probably...
Sounds pretty immersive.
It was. At this point, it was probably 3 or 4 in the morning. And
early for them, probably.
Yeah. And so we stumbled in there, and when I was there, somebody over kind of near the DJ booth like recognized me and a couple of the people that I was with, and they ran over and they said, "Hey, do you want to DJ right now?" And I was like, I mean, that sounds pretty cool. And
at 3 a.m. at the
Yeah.
Playboy 4-story
and
Presidio house. Yeah.
you know, another part about being a musician is like I always feel more comfortable over there and back there and not talking and doing the whole thing. And
Well, hence the 19-year-old concert.
exactly.
You,
And
you,
so
you, you belong there.
it was a lot
right?
easier for me to, I was like, you know what, let me please actually do that so I don't have to hang out with everybody. And luckily I had my USB on me that all DJs my age, they bring it around now. That's the kind of the thing, even if you're not playing, you always have it with
So
you.
it's your music on a little stick.
Yep.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know what that means.
Yeah. So I went up and I started playing, and when I got up there, I didn't realize how long it was or whatever, but I did realize that as I was playing, more and more people were sort of gravitating over towards me. And I ended up playing few songs, and behind me I could feel the sun literally coming up. And you know, next thing I know, it was just a fun time, just an interesting thing. And through that, I kind of left the stage at 6 a.m. or something, and a couple people grabbed me and I started talking to them. And you know, I'm generally easy to talk to, but I was thinking to myself, like, I got to get home, like somebody's probably freaking out.
I.e. your parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
hour drive.
yeah. And so I left and went home and didn't think about it for a little bit. And what I found out a few days later was actually there was a few attendees at that party that were some pretty important people around the scene, and one of which was the guy who books for one of the largest clubs in San Francisco. And so I got a message on Instagram from him like 2 days later saying, hey, you know, I really enjoyed what you played, and I saw your thing. I would really want you to come play an hour slot right before one of the biggest headliners that's going to come through the city.
And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
you had no idea it was there.
No idea. Yeah. And
because you were being you.
Yeah. I was just kind of doing my thing and
the genuine Wyatt.
Trying to be nice, you know, and talk to people. And, you know, so bringing that all together to sort of the points that I was trying to make at the forefront here, one of the weaknesses that I've tried to fix in myself was that I'm not very good at planning things. And the reframe of that is that I'm actually pretty good at flying by the seat of my pants and just sort of ending up, you know, with what happens. And so that was kind of a prime example of, well, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, yeah, well, you know, we can go there. And then the universe providing and everything kind of coming together. And the skill set, of course, kind of, you've brought it up a couple times here, but I feel like with me, it's sort of a what you see is what you get type of a thing. And
yes,
that's allowed me to talk to a lot of different types of people. And thankfully, most people find me pretty okay. And so with that, you know, I ended up a couple weeks after that playing one of the biggest shows of my life. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
So is the aha moment isn't just do it, but is the aha moment seizing the opportunity? Somebody asks you something, you respond. And if it's responding, you didn't go behind to perform because you knew you were going to be performing to then be asked to play in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. You did it because of your love. Mm-hmm. Your love to be on that side of the record table.
Yeah. I think the aha moment, there's sort of a two-parter. The one is definitely there's a seize the moment aspect. I think the more that you lean into the things that mean a lot to you, the more the universe is going to provide you with more of those things.
And sometimes lean into things that are a little uncomfortable, meaning at 2 a.m, I really want to go to this after party.
Yes. Yeah.
And instead of driving home for an hour.
Right. Yeah. Going out of your comfort zone for sure. But, you know, the reason that I went, mostly my friends were there and I knew there was going to be music. And so, that sounds cool.
And the second reason?
The second kind of component of the aha again was more in my reflection of looking at the experience overall, was just realizing that there's a piece of, I guess it's a piece of the seizing of the moment, but it's a piece of taking my kind of impromptu attitude and sort of open character and just leaning into it and allowing myself to be that way around people and to allow myself to dive deeper into these experiences, immerse myself in the scene and the culture and the art. And that has propelled me a lot farther than I ever really expected. Because to me, you know, leaning into having fun and doing things that I love it never felt like that's really, the way to be better and professional, and that's how you're going to really get somewhere.
Is it fair to say that it's okay to be accepted in your own heart to ask to be on stage?
Yes, that was definitely, yes. Yeah.
So in this scenario, you got asked to be on stage. You just happen to have you always have it with you, I presume.
Yes.
Or most of the time.
Yeah.
Do you have it with you now?
It's in my car.
Oh, well, it is with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say cerebral in the sense that you internally think about, because you sent me a couple messages about how do I need to prepare for this and where do you want me to go on this? And I mean, I'm going to solve questions because you really wanted to understand kind of how the sausage was going to be made.
Yes, I like to understand the whole picture.
Yes,
yeah, for sure.
And I have zero desire to how sausage is being made.
Yeah.
Opposite.
Yeah.
And which is great.
Yeah.
And the whole opposites of understanding and respecting the fact that you take that perspective. As you kind of process those two things that kind of led to that aha moment, how would you say that it's defined you differently now? And this was only a couple months ago. No, a couple years ago, sorry.
It's sort of going off of what you said. I mean, it's a comfortability in doing what I love, and I used to, I think, maybe be a little too humble. And what I mean by that is I was kind of holding myself back from maybe being the performer or maybe being somebody who would lean into that sort of thing, and not paying attention to what I have that maybe others don't. And going back to my point, like for me, discovering new music and finding music that a lot of people like, and then being able to play a song that they weren't sure they needed to hear, and then hearing it, that is a skill set that I never really thought was super valuable and important, because I've always just loved music and I've loved sharing it with people. And so when it all sort of came together, I would say that the confidence to perform, to keep going, and to make music and put my own music out there and things, that completely changed the way that I look at everything, and allowed me to succeed in the world of music and DJing.
Well, there you have it. I use the word cerebral. I think that when you think about people that are these inner thinkers, so keep in mind, 69% of the world's population are introverts. So you would think to yourself, well, yeah, Wyatt, you're an introvert. Yeah, I'm an introvert. But if you think about it, most people think that same way. Whereas the extroverts, and yes, I'm an extrovert, we dominate because we talk loud and we interrupt and we say things we aren't thinking about, whereas opposed to processing and using your mind to decide that I'm going to make a difference, and I'm going to write music, I'm going to perform music, and I'm going to have these moments inside of me where I have made a decision to make an impact, where I'm not looking for necessarily recognition, but looking for the inner self that I've actually had an impact and it made a difference, and I maintain being humble. So having Wyatt on has been fantastic. So on behalf of our entire team and Business Ahas, really great having you, Wyatt, and until next time.